China sent $48 billion to Latin America between 2020 and 2023, of which Venezuela did not receive anything. Since 2018, the country has not received any loans or investments from China. So, how solid is the relationship between the Venezuelan regime and the Asian country? Between 2000 and 2018, Venezuela received 46% of the funds China sent to Latin America, almost $69 billion in loans that needed to be repaid with oil and investments. Venezuela has been in default since 2017, but not with China. China has been receiving oil, though not as agreed. As of 2024, the debt continues to amount to billions of dollars. Trade between China and Venezuela reached $12 billion in 2015, but has dropped to just $6.4 billion in 2024. And it left Venezuela with a negative trade balance of approximately $3.203 billion. Although trade has recovered some since reaching its lowest point in 2020, it is still at a minimal level when compared with Brazil, Chile, or Peru, who had a positive trade balance in 2024 of more than $44, $20, and $15 billion respectively. In the oil and gas sector, financing reached $25 billion in 2018, but most of the projects failed to actually materialize. Out of the 8 joint ventures created with Chinese funds in Venezuela, only 2 are producing in 2024, and only 100,000 barrels daily, well below their targets. Moreover, 2 oil exploration contracts were signed with Chinese companies in 2024, which barely produced 200 barrels per day. There have been announcements of new investments in iron and gold mining, as well as for the manufacturing of products for oil activities, but there is no evidence of progress. Today, the relationship between China and Venezuela has become more of a political and ideological alliance, rather than any sort of concrete economic support for a crisis-ridden Venezuela. Chinese support is mainly limited to security, defense, and technology. Chinese companies provide the software and hardware the regime needs to block websites, censor content, and filter information, all of which the regime does to limit the dissemination of information and opinions that are unfavorable to the regime. ZTE, a Chinese company banned by the US, built for $70 million the Patria System database and the QRIDs, which have been described as instruments of surveillance and social coercion against Venezuelans. Likewise, China has replaced Russia as the main supplier of military equipment since 2013, except for 2023, during which Iran became the largest supplier. With the resumption of high-level meetings between China and Venezuela in 2023, the Venezuelan government has strengthened its propaganda strategy, claiming that Venezuela is very important for China. But in reality, the relations are meager at best. China remains interested in the exploitation and purchase of oil and minerals under terms that are unfavorable to Venezuela, in order to collect debt payments and promote its global Belt and Road strategy. At the same time, Venezuela supports Xi Jinping's GDI, GSI, GCI, and other proposals that take shape through diplomatic and media collaboration. The Venezuelan government has China's support in international forums and shows its gratitude by serving as a place to test citizen control and surveillance technologies, by expanding China's geopolitical perspective in official media, and by allowing the Asian giant to enjoy special privileges. This has become an unbalanced power relationship that is detrimental to all Venezuelans. Transparencia Venezuela will continue to remove opacity, and we will demand institutional changes to dismantle illicit activities and corruption.